everybody, Shark Scrapper. A couple of interesting pickups here. Electrician, got all the wire, lots of Romex. Motorcycle shop, few odds and ends, weird kind of stuff that from the shop that was next to his. It looks like brass and there's an old time kind of, it's electric, but look at the, let me see if I can get this out here, give you an idea how old this, that is an old waffle iron. So anyway, and while I was picking up from the motorcycle shop and some of this other stuff that was next to the motorcycle shop, I saw the orange rack section in the trash bin, the dumpster bin. So grabbed that. And the shopping cart was from the person who's next to the motorcycle shop. He's closing up, getting out of there. I get a call every now and then to come in and pick up stuff that he's separated out and needs to get rid of. All right, well, I'm going to get this stuff organized and weigh up all this wire so I know what to pay the electrician. We'll see y'all in a little while. All right, all you vintage computer enthusiasts, this doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, I have promised you that I would give you a first shot at these older PCs before I start breaking them down. So this is a Packard Bell Legend 233. Here, let's get a little more light on this. Packard Bell Legend 233. It just came in. It was in a pallet load of PCs, so working condition is unknown. Here's our model number PB430A. I'm looking for the manufacture date. I don't see one right offhand, but I'll look at this more carefully when I'm putting this up and see if there's a manufacture date there. As you can see, it's in reasonable condition, but definitely got some wear and tear going on here. And let me tip it up so you can see the bottom. There's the bottom. The rubber skid plates have kind of slid a little bit. Just a little bit of rust, but nothing major. It's actually in really good shape for its age. And given that it was in a pallet of computers, there's no telling what the history was. So, vintage PC enthusiasts, all you people who give me a hard time for breaking these down, here it is. You all have told me that not working or unsure, I should be able to sell these for $100. So that's what it's going for, $100 plus shipping. We'll figure out the shipping after you just tell me that you want it and where you're located. I'm also going to put this up on Facebook Marketplace and probably eBay. So go ahead and reach out to me directly if you want this. My email address is on my About page. I would love to be able to sell this to a collector instead of scrapping it. So I just got back from a pickup. This is one of my normal clients. Usually I just get PCs from them, but this time they had a bunch of loose boards that they bought because I guess the guy came in, or the gal, the person came in, they had a whole bunch of these loose boards along with the PCs, so they just weighed it all out and bought it as PCs. So, that's the way I buy it. I bought it from them. We just weighed it out and I paid them the same price that I would normally pay for PCs. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get some of the PCs out of the way. Oh, and there's some switches and stuff over there too. Very cool. And then we will dive in and look at some of these boards and make some assessments on the value that we got. All right, well, I'm gonna go a little bit slow so that when Chris sees this video from boardsort.com, If he wants to make any corrections to what I've assessed, he can. Trust me, if Chris says something is something, believe Chris. Because I am but a Padawan compared to Chris when it comes to board sorting. Board sorting. All right, so I'm going to call this a peripheral high grade. It's green on both sides. There's nothing back here. It is rather densely populated with some decent components. Yellow tantalums, black tantalums, great big old flat pack IC things, lots of MLCCs. It might kinda go as a telecom, and Chris may come back and say, yeah, that could go in with your telecom. But unless Chris comes back and says telecom, I'm putting this with my peripheral high grade. Of course, I got to take this off. This metal bracket has to come off. This is a part of a finger strip board from some sort of flat screen TV. These will go as peripheral high grade. Here's another one they just broke it in half, probably so it would fit in the container better. So that's going to be a peripheral high grade. You can see we've got some gold-plated connectors. We got some ICs and oscillators. We've got, these would be connectors, probably gold-plated pins in there. So we'll put that in with our peripheral. Some wire. Okay, so some people, normally speaking, when you get these with the shield, don't bother taking the shield off because you're going to break off the BGAs and it's going to downgrade the board. Not worth your time. But when they're clips like this, let's see real quick if we can get these off easy. Sometimes with the clips, they'll pop right off. These are kind of taped on, so they're a little bit not cooperative, but there we go. Now that we got the clips off, the plate, the shielding will come off pretty easy, and we haven't damaged any of the BGAs. So, you know, if it's clipped on, you might want to go ahead and take the time to do it. If it's riveted on or glued on, then yeah, don't waste your time. Okay, this is just a low-grade board. Now, for boardsort.com, because it's green on one side, so with boardsort.com, green on one side, it's got some components back here. Boardsort.com will take this as a mid-grade. My yard, and probably a lot of yards that only do low, medium, and high, would take this as a low-grade board. Here's another peripheral high, a finger strip board, or at least a piece of one. Another RAM, shielded, but as you saw, these are clips. Backplane. Backplane board's pretty easy. You unscrew them from the frame. Now, this one, because you can see here, you don't have there's some MLCCs, some tiny little components. You know, I'd be hard pressed to put this in with the gold finger cards, because if I put it in with, I mean, there just isn't a whole lot here, right? So yeah, it's got gold fingers. Technically it's a gold finger card, but man, that's pretty low grade. There's hardly anything there. What I'm probably gonna do is bust those gold fingers off and sell them as gold fingers to my refiner, and then throw the rest of this in with my mid-grade. Here's another one of those. All right, here's a real nice board. So, great big old socket mounted IC, a whole bunch of densely populated ICs, and these white things might be MLCCs. They're white, they're definitely capacitors. You know, like that one's C515 and C528. So, This part of the board could probably go as a telecom high. Over here you've got a bunch of junk, capacitors, transformer, heat sinks that are not even aluminum. So this side of the board is definitely a mid-grade, maybe a peripheral high. So one of your options, this is one of those cases where maybe it makes sense to cut the board in half and put this in with your, leave the socket mounted IC in here now if you're going to do this. Cut it in half, put this with your telecom, put this with your mid-grades or maybe your peripheral lows. Otherwise, if you keep it all together and you really want to get that IC, this socket mounted IC, then take the socket mounted IC and throw the whole thing in with your peripheral high grades. You can see how this starts to get a little bit convoluted because there are boards that, depending upon what you do to them, you downgrade them or you can, they fall into different grades. Don't get scared, okay? Don't let it scare you. They're just boards, okay? Do what you think is the right thing to do based on what you've learned from this channel, from other channels, from the boardsort.com forum. The worst that happens is it shows up at BoardSort and they change the grading on it. They'll let you know. All right, so here we have a power board of some sort. There are some ICs, some capacitors, some nice chunky aluminum heat sinks, but yeah, that's just a power board. Now it'll probably go in the mid grades. So, if you want to pull these chunky aluminum heat sinks off and put those in with your extruded aluminum, make sure you take the MOSFETs off. That's one way to get a little more value off of that board. There's another finger strip. More power boards. My yard just takes, these are all just low grade, but I have found a buyer and I'm trying to get them to commit to giving me a tour before I take a bunch of stuff up there. But I have found a buyer about 5 hours away, 5.5 hours away, that has a green power board price that's better than a brown power board price. So that's going to go in with the green power boards. And there's another green power board. Just get these wires clipped off of here. And another green power board. Oh, now this is an interesting board. It's still in, I wonder if that's the original box. It looks like it. Looks like that's the original plastic that it came in. Huh, interesting. It is pretty clean. Oh, we saw one like this. This is a Hewlett-Packard Jet Direct local talk 10 base T and a BNC plug. So this is OEM for Hewlett-Packard. I may look and see if there's any market for this. There's part number stickers on it, so I could easily look this up and see if there's any value to this other than selling it to boardsort.com. Peripheral high grade, maybe you take off that bracket. If you're selling it as scrap, take off that bracket. Peripheral high grade, yeah, you might get away with throwing that in your telecoms. Chris will let me know for sure. Okay, here's a classic gold ram stick. Just sell those the way they are. There's another one. This board was broken from something. Oh, I know what this was. This was a hard drive board. Probably they couldn't get one or two of the screws out, and so this probably had another part that came down here. This was on a hard drive. This is a low grade or a SATA connector hard drive board. I'm going to go ahead and put it in with my low grade hard drive boards, even though it's broken. RAM, more RAM, low grade power board. Here's another power board. A lot of power boards in this mix. Oh, this is interesting. Here, wait a minute. So, this gets very interesting. So yeah, that's a power board. That came out of a server power supply. I can tell because of these gold fingers. But, you know, you can't put that in with your gold finger cards because really, other than this gold Enig, this is not a gold finger card. It's a low grade, at best a mid-grade power board. So boardsort.com, that's easily a mid-grade board. So what I would recommend you do is pull off the gold fingers here, put those with your gold fingers, and then sell that as a low grade or to BoardSort as a mid grade for your yard, depending upon how they grade it, low grade power board. This is another one of those backplane boards that we saw. It's got the gold fingers. It's technically a backplane, but yeah, it's really not. Just pull the gold fingers off and then sell it with your mid grades. Finger strip. And here's another one of those. This was a server power supply board. There's another one. All right, now this is a true gold finger card. Take the bracket off to get your maximum value, and you can sell that as a gold finger card. Now, BoardSort does buy them with the brackets on, they just don't pay as much. Ooh, we've got a number of gold finger cards here. So here's another one. With this, you take off this plastic shell as well as the bracket. Another gold finger card, take off this heatsink. And that's how you got to take off of this one. Take off that heatsink. Here's another nice gold finger card. Take off the bracket and then sell it as a gold finger card. I am going to be putting my Kaiweets electric screwdriver to work on these guys. So I found a really good use for the Kaiweets electric screwdriver. If you haven't seen that video where I did an assessment of that tool, I'll see if I can get it linked here or at the end of the video. But I found that I use it to take off these thumb screws. It's very easy. I've got an adapter that fits right onto those, as some people call them risers. Sometimes they are used as risers. They're thumb screws. It works really well for taking those off, and it saves me from having to do this a lot, which can get really old. Another gold finger card. Wow, we got a lot of gold finger cards in here. A whole bunch of RAM too, that's cool. More RAM. A piece of a power board here. So that'll go in my low grade. Over there. Here's another one of those gold finger power supply boards. Here's a fan. Those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you know that what I do is I'll bust this part out of the middle and sell that to my yard as a small electric motor. Not all yards will do that. Some will. Some have a category for computer fan motors. They usually don't pay as much as a small electric motor, and some yards won't take them at all. Wow, look at that. Some more gold finger cards. Doing good for gold finger cards here. More of those server power supplies. More of these guys. Here we go, another gold finger card, some more RAM. Oh, hey, we got a nice big old CPU. What are you? It's a Xeon, excuse me, a Xeon E5 2640. Now, BoardSort had a program where they were buying Xeons, but as you know, these are server type CPUs. That didn't pan out too well, so they stopped that program. They are still buying the I-series CPUs. So if you have an I-series CPU, and I have a video out there on how to identify I-series and sell them to BoardSort. I-series CPUs are still being bought as functional. They test them. If they work, they pay you whatever the price is on their website. If they don't work, then they buy them as pinless CPUs. Man, we got a whole bunch of gold finger cards here. Looks like I'm sending Chris a box of gold finger cards. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Oh, here's a nice example. They already removed the bracket, so you can sell this right just the way it is. This is one of those server kind of power supplies. You know, it's like that, right? Look, they're almost identical. The difference is that has, oh, you know what? I know what the difference is. They cut that instead of, so this is the connector on this end. It was just stuck on there. I thought maybe it was a different kind of, you know, a pinned connection. So I'm gonna put that with those. And then you can put that with your gold connector ends, because if it was connecting to gold, then chances are the pins inside of here are gold plated. Right, so here we have, it could be a mid-grade board. I mean, it's definitely at least a mid-grade, at least. But you've got gold here. Those are gold-plated pins. Visible gold means it goes into peripheral. And because it has some nice big chips on it, I'm going to put it with my peripheral high grade. That one there. Here's a much better example of a backplane board. You can see where all the sockets were. This would have probably come out of a server, and those would have been slots for SATA connected hard drives. So that's definitely a backplane board. You take off the bracket and you can sell that as a backplane board to BoardSort. For my yard, that's going to be a mid-grade. Yay, more gold finger cards. Man, we're doing, oh, look at that one here. This is a real nice gold finger card. You've got a CPU of some sort on here. Let's see. Does it tell me? LSI? I don't know. So an LSI processing chip, some nice big tantalum capacitors, some BGAs. Yeah, that's going to be a nice gold finger card to sell it just the way it is. Here's another backplane board. Another one of those Xeons. You can always tell by the size. You're not a Xeon, are you? Oh yeah, you are. This is a really old Xeon. More of these that I'm going to take the fingers off. Here's RAM. More RAM. Hey, we did okay here with this because you know I bought all this as if it were PCs, and I have an agreement with this yard not to reveal the pricing, but trust me, I have done quite well here. All right, now then, this board is kind of cool. Let me get this wire out of the way. All right, so green on both sides. And remember, this is the boardsort.com recommended grading methodology. Green on both sides, minimum mid-grade. However, it has exposed gold, visible gold. Little weld points all over it, plus gold cornered BGA. This is a very easy peripheral high-grade board. Very densely populated with components, visible gold, peripheral, high-grade. Take off this metal clamp thing here. Another gold finger card. Yeah, I'm doing good here. Oh, here's another one of those peripheral high grades. And now this one, so this is similar to these other, here. We're going to look at these and look at the difference between these two. It's essentially doing the same thing, right? It's gold fingers to slot some sort of backplane device into it. But when you look at this one, there's a big difference. You've got big MLCCs, tantalum capacitor. You may not be able to see it, but there's some tiny little ICs and other components. There's another MLCC. You've got a gold connector here. So I have no trouble at all putting that in with my gold finger cards. There, I just did it. Okay, brown power board. If you're really dedicated and you want to get that transformer off and sell it as a transformer or a gold motor, gold bearing motor, copper bearing motor, gold bearing motor, duh, don't we wish. You could also take off this and get that gold off of that, gold. Oh man, I'm stuck on gold. Get the copper off of that spool, or you can just throw it in with your low grade boards. Well, this has been really interesting digging through all of this stuff. I mean, I could keep going for a long time here on boards. Yeah, that's going to be, yeah, we're going to call that peripheral high grade there. More RAM. It's going to take, this is a motherboard here. I'm thinking that, yeah, that's a multi-socket server motherboard there. So we'll take that out of that frame. There's still RAM in there. Cool. Let's see, what else do we have? Ooh, there's a nice board. Motorola, so this is the face of probably a law enforcement or military grade Motorola radio. And then there you see, that's a real nice board there. That'll go in with the peripheral high grades once I bust that free. Let's see, what are you? Not exactly sure what that came out of, but I'm got no trouble at all calling that a peripheral high grade board. Look at the size of those MLCCs. Man, those things are freaking huge. All right, I don't know, maybe there's bigger ones out there, but they're pretty big. Looks like antenna, so this might have been another part of a radio. I don't see a brand name on here anywhere, so I'm guessing this was probably some part of a radio. Oh wow, I got a bunch of these, so I'm gonna be breaking those out. There's a nice board, peripheral high grade board, easy peripheral high grade. Let's see. Oh, we've got some server boards here. Yeah, so multi-socket metal server motherboard. I don't even have to take it out. Somebody already did the work for me. How cool is that? Well, and then on top of that, I've got these servers and switches down here that I'm going to have to dig into. So this is going to turn out to be a very good pickup. Probably much better than my usual pickups from these folks. And they weren't, it was funny because they weren't sure if I was going to buy it from them because of the condition it was all in. So, but for me, this is outstanding. It's going to save me a lot of time. All right, everybody, I hope you have enjoyed this very interesting pickup of PCs and server parts and boards and things that we can identify. Yes, I'm still working on the next board identification video. I try to be very careful with those videos to make them as informative and accurate as I can, so it takes me a little bit of time to make sure I'm putting together a real quality product for those, but I promise we will have another one out before much longer. All right, everybody, don't forget, if you have enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That's going to be the little round icon that's in the middle of, wait a minute, these two that are popping up to take you to more shark scrapping videos. Have a great day.